What's up, everyone? For those of you who are watching on video, don't freak out. I didn't drop my glasses. I'm just trying out new contacts, and they're kind of weird. I'm getting used to them. I haven't worn them in like 5 years since before the pandemic, so it's very weird to me. I want to get used to them, but it's also very strange to think that you have this weird little object in your eye. I also have a really freaky story about how one time I scratched my cornea because I decided to sleep with my contacts in my eyes. So don't fall asleep with contacts in your eyes. That's the moral of the story. And before we get started, real quick, I do want to talk about the fact that I did post, I believe it was like earlier this week, technically last week now, um, that I was diagnosed with long COVID. I actually had to call out and drop out of the November powerlifting meet that I was going to do because I just cannot train. I actually have to dial back a lot of the strength training that I was doing. Hopefully I can get back up to it, but the doctor did tell me it would take about 6 months to a year to fully recover if it's not like a chronic thing that could be last for life, which for some people it does. So that is something that I'm currently working through, and I'm thinking of maybe doing some videos on like how to adjust your workouts if you're also suffering from this, or just any form of like uh, chronic fatigue, because there are a lot of different ways that you can adjust your workouts, and I'm slowly figuring things out. I did a workout yesterday where I ended up doing a lot of different seated workouts, which there's a ton of different things you could do that still build strength. So if that's something that sounds interesting to you, please let me know on any social media. Yeah, I think that could be kind of cool, but I did want to kind of share that update just in case. I know I was already pretty bad at like keeping up with content, but in case things get delayed, that is the reason. I just might have a really, really bad day where I can't do anything, but spend more time laying down. That's something that happens. But let's get to our first story here. Game Freak, unfortunately, the developers behind Pokemon, had a massive breach. So they posted a statement that their servers had been hacked and a ton of private data was stolen. So the data breach included contract, past, and current employees' names and email addresses. If this is inspiring some deja vu, there was actually a giant leak that happened in 2020 to Nintendo as well that resulted in a ton of content being leaked. This was called the Nintendo Giga Leak, which comprised of gigabytes worth of files and documentation from Nintendo projects, which is why it's called Giga Leak. It was a massive breach that was totally suspected to be tied to someone internally leaking the information, since another breach previous to the Giga Leak back in that year in April was estimated by Nintendo to not be a breach of their databases, servers, or services. The leaks included the source code for games like The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, Super Mario 64, some unknown games, canceled projects, prototypes, source code, development tools, and way more. There was also the security researcher Zamus Clark, who hacked Microsoft and Nintendo and was accused of accessing Nintendo's game development servers, and the Giga leak was seemingly linked to Clark. But back to present day, Nintendo Life reported that the leak also included information on the 10th generation Pokemon game and Pokemon Legends ZA, all slotted for release on a platform labeled Ounce. It's most likely the codename for the next Nintendo Switch console generation, but Nintendo has not confirmed nor denied this in their statement. There's also a mention of another Pokemon game codenamed Synapse, which is reportedly a type of Pokemon MMO, which I think could be really interesting. I think that's more appealing to me personally because the base formula of the previous Pokemon games just did not resonate with me. Also, fun fact, I've never played a Pokemon game. I just never got into that classic turn-based game mode, but I don't know, this is the first time for everything. I could try. The hackers apparently also found lots of unused assets for Pokemon games, including music, all of which was stolen. And there was information on the storyline of an unreleased Detective Pikachu 2, supposedly called The Great Detective Pikachu, which was planned for release in 2024, according to the leak. The information dug up by hackers suggests there was a trilogy of live-action Pokemon movies at some point, but no one has information on what happened to those ideas. I honestly feel really bad for Nintendo having recent data breaches, so I'm hoping they're able to at least protect their employees' information and privacy. Speaking of developers having trouble, Bungie is reportedly being sued for some stolen plot elements for Destiny 2's Red War campaign. Kelsey Martineau claims that Bungie stole parts of a story he published on WordPress between 2013 and 2014. The Destiny 2 expansion Red War was released in 2017, just a few years after. The lawsuit filed October 2nd this year claims defendants have deliberately and intentionally copied the characters, storyline, and other protectable expression from Martineau's works in the infringing game. Martineau has never authorized or given consent for defendants to use their copyrighted works in the manner complained of herein. I know, that's a lot of legal speak, but basically, Martineau is accusing Bungie of stealing his ideas of his overlord Ynera to create Dominus Gall and the Red Legion. Martineau's Red Legion and Destiny 2's Red Legion apparently mimic each other and their goals directly overlap. He also lists that both stories, quote, detail the rise of a young and ambitious alien with the intent of dividing and conquering Earth in order to gain strategic assets. The lawsuit claims that Bungie didn't create their own version of Red Legion on their own and wrongfully copied Martineau's original design instead. Bungie hasn't said anything about this lawsuit yet, so I'll have to keep an eye on this story as it develops. Okay, going back to Nintendo and some lighthearted news, we've probably all seen the Nintendo sound clock Alarmo. You know, that $100 Nintendo hardware that's just an alarm clock, but selling for $99.99 with tax. So it turns out this clock actually costs more than that because you need a Nintendo Switch Online membership, which is a subscription you need to pay for yearly. So there are different online memberships you can pay for too. There's a normal online membership for an individual that runs at $20 a year, then the online and expansion pack membership for an individual that gets you a few extra benefits for $50 yearly. Then a family membership where you can add up to 7 other people to the account for just online benefits for $34.99 a year. And finally, the online and expansion pack family membership for $80 a year. You can also opt to pay for the online individual membership per month for $4 or every 3 months for $8. So yeah, honestly speaking, the subscription pricing isn't bad, but it's kind of funny that you need an online membership just to use an alarm clock. The future is here and it's all subscriptions. The Alarmo is pretty standard for an alarm clock, but it features some Nintendo-specific content like showcasing the classic Nintendo font and a character from one of their franchises to display on the screen. When the alarm goes off, it's initially a gentle wake-up with familiar sounds from the Nintendo property you chose. Then, a character from that franchise will pop up on the screen. You can snooze the alarm, but the longer you stay in bed, the more intense things might get. So, for example, someone showcased that for the Pikmin screen, they start to fucking drown if you don't get up. There are 35 scenes you can choose from, and you can link your Nintendo account to the clock, and then connect it to your Wi-Fi to download future updates that will add more scenes to Alarmo. Alarmo also has some ambient chirps it can do for you, like having a top of the hour of sounds to let you know time has passed. Alarmo also has a hands-free sensor that reacts to your movements if you don't want to snooze the alarm by pressing a button. Because it can track your movement, Alarmo can also apparently track how much time you've spent in bed and how much you've moved around in your sleep to a certain degree. It's a little terrifying, but it's also a little bit funny that the official store page specifies Alarmo is compatible with bed sizes from twin beds to kings for the sensors. So I guess if you want an expensive piece of hardware for the cute little aspects Nintendo can give you, you can spend up to $120 to get the Alarmo and the base subscription to use it. Not gonna lie, I was honestly a little bit tempted to get the Alarmo, but then when I saw you needed that subscription, I'm gonna pass. I don't play Nintendo enough as it is. I'm currently playing through Pikmin 4 because it's like the easiest game to play in bed, but it doesn't require online. So like, why would I buy a membership for something that I don't use except for my alarm clock? I'm okay. But that's it for this week in news. Let me know if you feel like I missed anything, if you want me to talk about anything else in the future. Just a reminder that I do like to do my own independent game reviews. So if you want me to check out a game, please let me know in the comments below or anywhere else that you follow me on, and I'll see you in the next video.